Now, some of you had concerns regarding the video I uploaded about Uebert Angel titled Adam and Eve Did Not Sin. Perhaps we're getting him out of context. Maybe it was a mistake, a slip of the tongue, a one-time thing. And so I'm doing this follow-up video to put all those concerns finally to rest. Now pay very close attention as we go on.
I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. Notice the sin was not just that. Watch this. Watch how God is angry and what he says in his anger. And the Lord said, who told you? You are naked. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, the problem is not the sin. The problem is who is telling you you are sinning.
He's trying to take away the premise that it was man's sin that led to the fall. And he's making sin like it's not even a problem at all. Actually, the problem is that person who is telling you that what you're doing is wrong. That's the person who has the problem. Because your sin is not a problem at all. And no, this is not the same video I uploaded a few weeks ago. This is a totally different sermon, a totally different day. And Uebert Angel is teaching the same exact false doctrine. Let me show you both videos so you can see the difference for yourself.
So you see, the problem of God was never Adam and Eve sinned. It was who really told you you sinned. Because to me, this was not a sin. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, the problem is not the sin. The problem is who is telling you you are sinning.
So there you go. So for those who thought that perhaps this was just a one-time thing, perhaps it was a slip of the tongue, stray words, he didn't really mean what he was saying. No, this is a continuous, deliberate, intentional, purposeful teaching that he has kept on teaching from time to time in different sermons, different occasions. So this is not just a slip off. This is intentional. Uebert Angel also has a concept of sin. It's an upside down concept where he considers what is good and right, which is rightfully regarding sin as sin because it grieves God. He considers that as evil, and he considers the sin itself as not being the problem. So he considers what is actually good and right evil, and what is evil and wrong good. And so Uebert's theology is something that is perverse, corrupt, upside down, distorted, inverted.
Ladies and gentlemen, the problem is not the sin. The problem is who is telling you you are sinning. So you see, the problem of God was never Adam and Eve sinned. It was who really told you you sinned. Because to me, this was not a sin.
I want you to notice how he's playing around with his words. That instead of plainly and boldly stating it that sin is good, he says sin is not a problem. It's not a problem. So if you say it's not a problem, then is it okay? Is it good? Now, he doesn't plainly want to state it that it's good. So he's kind of ambiguous in the way he's talking. And he says, well, sin is not a problem. Yeah, it's not a problem. And you see, false teachers don't teach their heresies plainly. No, they disguise them. They teach them in ambiguity. Someone can teach you sin by saying, well, the grace of God is sufficient. And you see, the love of God says that we should not call out sin. He's teaching you the same premise that sin is okay, but he has to Christianize, if I may use that term. He has to Christianize, biblicalize, scripturize the false teaching to make it look like it is what the Bible teaches. And so they are ambiguous in the way they teach. They are ambiguous in the way they teach. Plainly, what Uebert Angel is saying is that sin is good. That's what he means by saying it's not a what? A problem. But he can't come out plainly and say sin is good. No, because there many people will understand his fault. So he has to teach it in ambiguity. So instead of saying that sin is good, he has to bring it in an ambiguous way, in a disguised way, a camouflaged way, by saying that, you see, sin is not a problem. He can't come out plainly and say sin is good, because people will know that it's false. So he has to cover it up. You have to bring it out in a way that someone buys into the lie without actually knowing that it is a lie. So he covers it up and disguises it.
The problem, ladies and gentlemen, the problem is not the sin. The problem is who is telling you are sinning.
Nope. It might hurt us, but the person telling us that we have sinned is right to tell us that we have sinned. The grace and love of God should never be used as an excuse for our sin, or as a premise to obstruct people who legitimately have biblical cause to rightly call us out for our sin. If anything, the grace of God and love of God should lead us to a godly sorrow to accept the error rather than defend the error and get angry at the person exposing us. That is not the heart of someone who is remorseful over sin, but a depraved mind ready to fight to protect sin.
The problem is not the sin. The problem is who is telling you are sinning.